Welcome to Inside Golf. This week's show is a little different. We're taking some time to remember our longtime host and our friend, Harry Donahue. For more than a decade, Harry was the voice of this program. Steady, kind, and connected to the people who make golf in Philadelphia what it is. He had a way of talking to people that felt easy, familiar, and because of that, he brought incredible conversations to this show. Today we're sharing a handful of them, just a few highlights from interviews Harry recorded over the years with people who all share a connection to Philadelphia, the place he dedicated his entire career to. And we'll start at a place Harry returned to many times, Merion Golf Club. Here are two moments from his visits there.
I guess you can go back to the 1950 U.S. Open when on this fairway right behind us, Ben Hogan hit that memorable shot to get into a playoff, and eventually he won the U.S. Open.
Yeah, hit it with a 1 iron. Our players are hitting with 5 irons now. So. That was a very turning point in my career. I was living at the YMCA in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And that Saturday afternoon, when they played the 36 holes in those days, was a beautiful day like this. And I said, what am I doing here? I should be there. I'm looking at television. I should be at Merion doing the U.S. Open.
And how old were you at the time?
I was about 30, 31 then. So Monday morning I quit. Came back to Philadelphia and then got into television. But it was here at Merion watching that on a little TV set in the lobby of the YMCA in Allentown.
And eventually, as I said, you were in the 60s, the main anchor on the 18th hour for all the CBS golf telecasts. What was it like, Jack? As I said, 1950, you said you were inspired by Hogan. Suddenly now, you're the voice of golf on a major network covering all the big events.
Well, it was a dream come true, you know. It was, doing golf is really... We shouldn't be paid for it. We should pay them. I mean, what a way to kill a winner.
Absolutely. In mid-60s around, there was an incident at Augusta, and I'd like your perspective on it now, all these years later, in which I think you described the crowd at the time of, or the mob, was it, coming up the 18th
Yeah,
fairway?
I said it was a mob scene. Yeah.
Okay. And
when
I guess Cliff
every
Roberts...
Every time you use a cliche, you get in trouble.
Is that? I'll have to write that down. But it upset some people at Augusta?
Yes, we were under a gun. That was a Monday playoff. And it was about 6:59:15, or like 40 seconds away from Walter Cronkite.
Okay.
And you never messed with Walter Cronkite's news. And they're saying, hurry up, hurry up. And so in my haste to get off the air, I neglected to mention that there would be the awarding of the green jacket on the putting green.
Okay.
So I think that
So there was no Butler cabin ceremony, huh?
Well, it was too late. I mean, we were fighting not only Walter Cronkite, we were fighting darkness, because for some reason they started the players off too late.
Okay.
We didn't have any players the first 45 minutes we were on the air.
Okay.
Because in those days we only covered from 15 in, and they hadn't come to 15 yet, and we're all tap dancing like crazy.
So you were basically taken off the telecast for future Masters. How did that sit with you?
Well, it was very crushing. I didn't know about it until the following March. And on some rainy night, we were in a taxi cab, and the sports director at CBS, Jack Dolph, said, incidentally, you're not on the Masters anymore.
Wow.
That's how I heard about it. And I was really kind of crushed. But then all of a sudden there was a backlash in the papers. And I got some very nice press on it, so that made me feel a little better. Oh, but it hurt. Yeah, sure.
Probably today, Jack, if it had happened, it'd be out on, what is it, Washington Avenue outside the main gate with signs saying, bring back Jack.
No,
what do you think?
I don't think so. But it was quite an upheaval. And when Gary McCord got thrown off, I wrote him a note. I said,
did you?
You have just taken me out of a very special place. I hate you. So we're the only two that have been thrown off.
That's a very special club, Jack Whitaker and Gary McCord. Yeah. Later, you would get involved.
Merion's such an iconic venue, Scott. You were the director of golf. When you look back on it, what prepared you best in your career, whether it was at Baltimore, York, earlier here in Merion? You didn't know you were going to last 24 years. It had to be an accumulative list of events or things that you did, people you talked to, that got you to this position.
That's right. I was very fortunate because my dad was so involved in the game. I had a wonderful network when I got out of school, out of college. And I think I did a good job of listening to those people that were some of the best golf professionals in the state of Ohio, for example. You know, I used to go to Firestone Country Club and see Don Padgett. I'd go to Inverness and see Don Pernay. I'd go to Oakmont and see Bob Ford. But those were iconic people. As I looked up to them and wanted to be like them, I always had the opportunity to engage in conversation with them and find out what it took. So as I went along in my career and as I did what I needed to do at the Country Club of York, I was always working for that next opportunity. And I had good people helping me along the way.
Talk about good people. I'm sure, I don't know, you know the exact number of assistant professionals you've mentored in the last 24 years at Merion and where they have used this as an opportunity, a springboard to take their career further. I guess it's dozens.
I've had probably 20 plus that came directly from my operation. I've had others that worked here. I helped place them in another club where then they worked at that club and advanced to become head professionals. I keep a long list of employees that have worked for me over the years, and it's well beyond 75. And ironically, here's an example of how it works. I had a young lady that worked for me. She went to St. Joe's. She's now the chief financial officer at Augusta National.
Wow, how about that? Good for little shout out to Hawk Hill, a graduate of St. Joe's myself.
Right.
I'm not working in Augusta, but I'm sitting here at Merion with Scott and I, so that's not a bad gig either. Scott, what do you think? 2 or 3 qualities that...
That Vikings game, they covered about half a point.
Well, Charles Barkley joins us here at Aronimink. Charles, always a pleasure to see you no matter where, especially a golf course. You're the honoree for Jay's tournament this year. So you've been an honoree all over the place, haven't you?
It was, I don't know, buying Jay dinner and doing things like that got me an honoree, so it's pretty cool. I'm glad to be here. It's a great cause. But I got to ask you a question.
Sure.
How long you been stealing money?
Over 50 years.
50 years.
And I haven't been in jail one day.
Because I only been stealing like 23 years. For you to be doing this all these years, people must like you. Because in our business, if people don't like you, you're fired quickly.
I have a likable personality, I think. And it helps in this business especially.
Well, you must be a nice guy because you're not the best looking dude in the world.
I love the honesty from Charles Barkley, man.
In America.
No.
Well, I should say Philadelphia.
Most of my career was in radio, and everybody says that's where I should have stayed instead of trying to make it like I have a television face. You know what, Charles? I'm so old, I don't give a damn what they say.
I used to make fun of old people. Now I'm one of them. It's not funny.
Welcome to the crowd.
I just turned 60, and it's weird. I bumped into Dr. J recently. We used to give him a lot of crap, me and Leon Wood and the young guys, because him and Moses were like 35. We used to call him Grandpa, and that was 35. And now I'm 60. It's just so weird to say that. But, man, I've been blessed, and I've been truly blessed. In Philadelphia, I live here during the summer. What a great city. What a great city. And I will tell you what, man, some of the best golf courses. But, man, it's been a great summer, and to finish it off with Jay making me an honoree at Aronimink is pretty special.
Well, always a pleasure, Charles. Thank you for supporting Jay Siegel's Invitational here, and go out there and knock him dead.
Well, Jay, it was really cool. I've known Jay. I played with Jay 100 times. He's always been great to me, and he asked me to come be the honoree. That's pretty cool. The only thing that was annoying, he said, Harry Donahue? I said, yeah, I know Harry forever. He says, he wants to do an interview with you. I said, do I really have to do the interview?
How much did he pay you? Come on.
Nothing.
Your agent get involved?
No, I didn't even take. It wasn't important enough to take to my agent. So
we got a comp here today, folks.
Yes.
We're on scholarship
yes, we
with the
are.
great guy.
Hey, as Amar Rashad always said, Chuck, go your whole life on scholarship. That's what your key is. And hey, I'm on the 60.
You're not letting them down, are you?
I'm on the 60-year roll.
Mike, let's have father-son duo. Let's have some fun, Mike.
40 years this guy's been the head coach of women's basketball.
Yeah, but I can't be a member here at Union League because you got to be a legend to be a member here. You know, Harry, Jay Wright, you know, Jim Lynam. You know, you got to, you know.
Yeah, well.
I'm not quite there.
You're working at it, Coach.
But I'm trying. I'm going to try to win one more championship and apply again, see if they'll let me in.
Yeah, right. You do that. That may be the tipping point. That may be the tipping point. We talked in that first segment, Geno, about when it started to turn around, and since then it has taken off, and the game has changed. But you talked, or you coached rather, several women who have been All-Americans. 27, I think, is the list. You've had 7 players who have named Player of the Year, and a couple of them have done it like 3 times.
Yeah.
Why did they want to come to Storrs, Connecticut to play for Geno Auriemma? I mean, winning, they could win probably anywhere they went, these girls. But they wanted to play for
you.
In
the beginning, we couldn't get those players. In the beginning, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, we were winning with kids that were a little bit under the radar, that they weren't being recruited by the schools that were winning a lot. So it was a chance for them to get in on the ground level and say, okay, I want to help build something. And, what do you have to sell? You don't have the facilities, the school doesn't have a reputation, So what do you have to sell? You just say, hey, look, I'm going to give you a chance to play and build something from the ground up. And you want to play for me or not? That's basically what it came down to. And Chris Daly, my assistant, was a great recruiter. But it wasn't until 1990, 91 that Rebecca Lobo grew up an hour from campus. She was the National Player of the Year, and we got her to come to UConn. After that, then we were able to recruit a higher level player. And then after our first national championship in 1995 with a bunch of local kids, then we were able to recruit anybody in the country. So that's when it started. 91, but it really took off in 95 after our first national championship.
Right, and their first stretch there, you won, I think, 111 consecutive games.
I know.
Back-to-back national championships. I mean, it was the brand for women's college basketball. And then the pressure to win, but I guess it wasn't that difficult, or was it?
Well, I made a comment one time. I said, the only thing worse than losing is winning all the time. Because if you win all the time, then people think that you should never lose. And they almost forget that there's another team that you're playing, and that's why we're keeping score, so that whenever we did lose, it was, what's wrong with UConn?
What happened to
exactly.
UConn?
Exactly. Not like, hey, the other team played great. It's like, you're not allowed to lose. It's like when Tiger didn't win. Remember, if Tiger didn't win a tournament, the next day in the paper, it would be Tiger loses. And at the bottom of the page, this is who won the golf tournament. So it was, it was that
90% of the article is what's wrong with this guy.
That's right. That's right.
You certainly have spent a lot of time writing about the game of golf. You've authored 5 books. The latest right now coming out is a golf course called America. Basically, you're in the business of, or the delight of telling stories about people you meet, whether it's on the course or somewhere related to golf. You must have met a lot of people in that writing.
I've been really fortunate because, as you know, Harry, this game's about the relationships and the people that I've been able to meet through golf, and then unexpectedly through the books. People who read the Ireland book, heard I was going to do it in Scotland, reached out and asked if they could join me. And there was a group that, in the Scotland book that came over that I had never met aside from email. And we traveled Scotland together for a week, and now 10 years later, they're still my best friends. People I talk to all the time. And so, and they're not people who, our social circles or our geographic circles would have interacted otherwise. So I'm incredibly fortunate for that, or grateful for that. Those relationships that golf has given me, around the country, around the world. But honestly, even just like with the folks, the great guys I played with today, I think, especially for, a dad who's wrapped up in, a lot of other things and what my family's doing. If I didn't have golf, I don't know if I would spend a heck of a lot of time with my peers and be able to call them friends. And so that's a pretty great thing.
Yeah, well, you certainly have golf. 5 books, as we mentioned, editor, the Golf Journal, and here it is, some of the greatest golf photography.
Yeah.
I'm not blowing smoke here.
Thank you. We don't do swing tips. We have almost no advertisements. It's a book that you collect and put on your coffee table and pick it up and can have a quiet moment thinking about golf.
Are you a golf influencer? Because you are into just about everything good about golf.
Oh, well, Harry, that's a tough one. Thank you for saying that. No, I really just sort of think of myself as, a golfer and a pretty crazy, sick golfer who has done a lot of different things and can't get enough of it. So, yeah, it's about stories for me, right? I'm out there looking for stories, and I'm out there looking for adventures, and I'm out there looking for experiences that people in this game are going to find interesting, So I would like to think of myself more as a golf storyteller than a golf influencer, because usually what I'm trying to post is telling people about a place or a person that I think they're going to find interesting.
You certainly have...
Harry, I'm shaking. You're a legend.
That means I'm old, you know that. That's
Well,
the end of
I've
that.
known you in a long time, but I don't think we've ever done something this formal together. So this is a
We
treat
haven't.
for
We
me.
finally tracked you down because you are a traveling man. But where did it all begin for Michael Bamberger?
Well, I just in golf term. I grew up in Patchogue. It's on the South Shore of Long Island. My parents left Nazi Germany as kids. There was no obvious path to golf for me, but I went to a public middle school in Patchogue, where our 8th grade gym teacher, Mr. Greenlee, thought it would be neat to introduce kids to golf, and that started me down a path that's in the mid-'70s, and here we are in 2023. That has enriched literally every single day of my life ever since. So, but I was lucky to grow up in the time and the place that I did. There were public courses that we could play reasonably. There was a bus line that could get us to the public courses. So just a lucky time and place.
You and Tiger Woods kind of came together, you from a journalistic standpoint with Sports Illustrated, and he burst onto the scene, 3 amateur championships, and took golf by storm. And the rest is history, as they say, and you were there to record it.
Harry, when people talk about my career, they always say, yeah, it's you and Tiger side by side. That's very nice of you to word it that way. So in 1995, I was still a reporter on the Philadelphia Inquirer. George Buddy Marucci, whom we both know, was in the final against Tiger Woods at Newport, and that was the first time I ever saw. That was the second of his 3 U.S. amateur titles, and saw Tiger in action for the first time, saw the interaction with his dad, Butch Harmon. It was an absolutely extraordinary day, and Marucci did incredibly well to hang on there for as long as he did, because there was night and day. I mean, you didn't have to know anything about golf to know that one guy was a horse and the other guy was, a horse in a field, basically, compared to a thoroughbred of all thoroughbreds. In '95, I left the Inquirer to join Sports Illustrated, and Tiger blew up. There was an insatiable level of interest in him. So I covered Tiger when he was, I guess, a 19-year-old amateur then. He's won 15 major championships. I've been to all of them but one. The one that I did not attend, our mutual friend Joe Logan and I were covering the U.S. Women's Open in Chicago. And Joe said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, they needed someone to cover this. They got other people, Jaime Diaz and others, covering the British Open at the Old Course." And Joe says, "Who did you piss off?" But anyway, and
I can hear Joe saying that, by the way.
Anyway, there's a lot of Joe Logan stories we could tell. But yes, so I've really been lucky enough to document Tiger's entire career. He's a very complicated person off the course. I would say he is one of the most spectacular athletes of all time on the course. I know a lot of the viewers have seen him at Aronimink and other places, and certainly on TV. What you're seeing is someone who is completely, totally committed to every golf shot he played. Whatever was going on in his life, he could put those distractions aside and completely focus on the shot and the problem at hand. And it was inspiring, actually, to watch, no matter what you thought of him as a person.
What got you into caddying?
I used to caddy for I went out to Cobbs Creek with my dad. We were in Southwest Philly, and he played Cobbs Creek, and I'd walk around with him. Then I caddied for him. Then I started, caddying in the Monday tournaments, the local Monday Pro tournaments here in the Philly section. And that's how I got interested. And I was caddying for a guy named Willie Maples, who was the assistant pro at Philly Country Club. And he got into the 72 IVB. The Industrial Valley Bank tournament at White Marsh.
Yeah.
And I caddied for him there. We were paired with a guy named Jimmy Hardy. And if you remember, the old White Marsh tournament was always the week before the U.S. Open. And Jimmy Hardy had he had qualified, the U.S. Open was at Pebble, that was the year Jack won. And Hardy, seeing me caddy for 2 days with Willie Maples, said, "What are you doing the week after next?" I said, "Nothing." He said, "Come out and caddy for me at the Cleveland Open." So I got in my car and drove out and started on the tour.
So that was really your first tour bag?
Yes.
I
caddied for Jimmy for a few weeks. I got a more permanent bag with a guy named Mike Reeser, who was from Seattle, who famously had caddied for Arnold Palmer when Arnold blew the 7-shot lead to Billy Casper at the Olympic Club back in '66. And Mike was a good player, never made the top 60, but he roomed with Buddy Allen and Johnny Miller at Brigham Young. And he was my first bag. I probably caddied in 72, 3, 4, the first couple of years I caddied on tour. I caddied for him more than anybody else.
You have a big history with Tom Watson. I think I read where probably you've carried his bag in more than 50 golf tournaments?
Oh, no, 150.
More than that? 150?
Yeah.
Okay. It's even more than I thought. When was your first opportunity to meet Tom and to work with him?
Well, I met him in the early 70s because his caddy was a really good friend of mine, Bruce Edwards, who passed away. And so the tour was much smaller then. I mean, it wasn't people getting on their private jets all the time. And we were all kind of the same age. And one of his best friends on tour, Andy North, is my best friend on tour. And so we all were just friendly because, we were all kind of the same age. And, Bruce Edwards and myself and a lot of the guys from outside of Hartford, Wethersfield, Connecticut, caddied on tour. And so we all just became friendly.
Right. Andy North won 2 U.S. Opens. Tom, obviously, multiple majors.
8. Only 6 guys in the history of golf have won more majors.
What clicked between you and Tom Watson?
Well, look, first, I've caddied in 550 events. I haven't hit a shot yet, Harry. You're still just carrying the golf bag, okay? And I learned the choreography of caddying early on. I caddied for a ton of different guys, and there's choreography to it, and then there's a way of understanding what some guys want and what other guys want. I mean, for the last couple of years, I've caddied on and off for Freddie Couples. He's different than Tom. Obviously a great player, hasn't won as many tournaments as Tom has, but his, what he wants is different than what Watson wanted. What Watson wanted is different than I caddied for a long time for Kenny Venturi and Frank Beard and Tony Jacklin.
Wow.
I mean, guys back then in the 70s.
From a different era.
From a different era. And guys want different things, and you learn that fairly quickly. That's what a caddy does.
Maybe you can share a name, maybe not, of some of the names.
As we wrap today's special edition of Inside Golf, I just want to take a moment to say something personal about Harry. Everyone who watched this show knew his voice, that unmistakable voice. But for those of us who got to work with him, there was so much more. I'll miss his stories. He had one for every course, every tournament, every name you could throw at him. I'll miss his laugh, his professionalism, and the way he made you feel prepared, even on the days you didn't. And I'll really miss his advice and that encyclopedic knowledge of sports he carried with him wherever he went. Harry loved this city. He loved Philadelphia golf. And the best way we can honor him is to keep doing what he cared about most, telling the stories of the people, the clubs, and the traditions that make this game matter here. So we'll keep going, and we'll try every week to bring the same spirit and respect for the game that Harry brought to Inside Golf for years. From all of us here, thank you for watching. And thank you, Harry, for everything.